Hello everyone, welcome to our Let's Play series of Disco Elysium. This is Colonel RPG as usual, and I'm very happy that you're choose to join me today as I talk to René Arnaud. And he's a I think he might be from the war, or like I say from the war, I mean like a war veteran. He's dressed in very specific colors, but that might not be related to that. To the war. His whole personality is about just being really angry at everything. And he did come across. I was thinking in between episodes about how he said that if you apologize and try to change your ways, he's okay with that because we ruined their game. It was definitely my fault. So yeah. Anyway, he says this is just what the commies wanted. Yeah, I was talking about the toothpaste ads and the commies wanted toothpaste ads. Right. Yeah, his line of thinking is very confused. Anyway, this is just what the commies wanted. This was their plan all along. This is what they wanted to replace the rule of suzerain with. And that was their king. How does Philippe III factor into this? And I can point toward the monument that we saw already. I think it's the one... Philippe III. Is it? I think so. Yeah, I remember it being Philippe. He doesn't, the veteran replies sharply. He's a veteran. There it is. Although that might be in reference to him being an elder. So anyway, that was 100 years ago. Ain't got nothing to do with anything. That's interesting. It's all of a sudden a very unexpected way of looking at it. He's not necessarily, because this is not typical of a conservative person, so he's not conservative on all the things anyway. So, but that also might be because he might not be politically involved and just get some things from some people and other things from other people. That's how sometimes things happen. People who aren't in or necessarily immersed in the whole political discourse will sometimes mix things together. Like, for example, being super socially conservative. Well, I say super, but he's at least a little bit socially conservative. But then historically non-conservative. Because, yeah, usually what would happen... Well, what does happen is that people tend to look at history in a different way that, more or less aligns with their... You see, they're playing. More or less aligns with their worldview. And just try to understand history in a way that, he was misunderstood or something. I don't know. You can think of your own thing. It's all fictional, of course. Who was this Frisell that you talked about? Damn Frisell! He was the king we couldn't protect. The carabineers failed him. And the crown... The old veteran falls silent and massages his chest. He died in the hands of the hoi polloi in a very public execution. You mentioned Guillaume? A true king, in both blood and mind. Led Ravachol before Frisell. He would have been better, but the damn commies drove him into exile. I wonder how the French... I wonder what the French abbreviation for communist is. Because commune is a specific type... is a very English way of abbreviating things. And in Portuguese, for example, we have another way of abbreviating words in general, but specifically communist, that is nothing like this, and is very specific to our language as well, because maybe French is similar as well, because we just sort of cut the word a little bit instead of changing the end. It's kind of... Anyway, it doesn't matter. What exactly is suzerain? I thought... Wasn't it a king? Yeah, this is all very new to me. The suzerain is the king. Has everyone forgotten already? He then slowly nods and says to himself, they're forgotten already. Soon they will forget everything. Him too, says empathy. Then he chooses anger over melancholy. It's no use talking to you. You were still in daddy's balls when... Oh, he says balls this time around, and not the French word for balls, which he was saying before. When it happened, when we took our last stand against the filth and rode the cavalry straight into gunfire. Legendary composure check over there. What is this about this old soldier that makes him stand so proud? And I cannot. You need a. I got a -1 because I threw the ball into the sea. Oh, love it. But no, it would be impossible anyway because my composure is 3. So, and that is a legendary check for 14 difficulties. So I would basically get always the 3% chance because it's 14 minus 3, which is 11. No, actually, it wouldn't be 3%. It would be. So you throw you would need an 11 on a 2d6. So I believe that's a 7% chance. Because it doesn't scale linearly. It's not like you're throwing 2d6s is not the same as throwing a 1d11, which would be equivalent of the range, because you can't get less than 2 on a 2d6, so it would have to be a 1d11 plus 1. Anyway, the point is it doesn't scale the same because of chances. I saw the statue of Philippe III. Oh, this is written differently though. I think that might be a typo. Near the roundabout. Ah, yes, King Philippe III. On his steed, a reminder of what Revachol once was. Oh, absolutely, says Gaston. He smiles as if reliving a pleasant memory. At the mercy of a cocaine-snorting tyrant who emptied the treasury so he could sleep on a bed of gold. A superpower, feared and respected, says René. A testament to what this country can be under the leadership of a true king. Someone who knows how to rule. So how should a true king rule? Decisively, without fear of offending the sensibilities of the frail and weak-minded among his subjects. This is something the insurgents never understood. Yeah. So this is interesting here, because it becomes very hard to understand why he would think. Well, I'm not sure though. I don't know if it becomes difficult or not, but this is typically a very well, it's complicated because in our world the fear of offending the sensibilities of the weak-minded and the frail has 2 very distinct roots. And they're definitely towards one side of the political spectrum, but it doesn't really matter where they are because they are different philosophies that produce this sort of attitude. And of course, again, this guy might not be saying this out of his political affiliation because he might not have any. It might just be his attitude and the things he heard and things that sound good to him, because that's how people work and that's how politics works for a lot of people, and that's totally fair. But this to me sounds very much definitely from a subtextual perspective, it definitely sounds a lot like the Semonese supremacist that we talked to, Measurehead, I think was his name. But also from a textual perspective, the game hasn't shown us many different characters with this attitude, or the game hasn't shown us any character with this attitude that wasn't explicitly branded as racist or, well, racist. Anyways, Semonese supremacist is still racist, but still, it just didn't get the racist bit in the name like the truck driver did. So, it is interesting to see him say this in the same vein, because of course in our world, the disdain for the weak and the frail can have a very different root. Well, I say very different root. Can have a different root. Root as in ROOT, than just simple racism, because it's kind of complicated. Libertarian ideology is sort of pervasive all throughout the world, and it comes from different origins in different places of the world. But there is a sort of a common way of thinking that many people share of people who need help. They are not as worthy as people who don't need help. And that's complicated because the historical reasons why that was propagated in at least the 20th century, not that it didn't exist before, because it did exist before the 20th century, but the political history behind the propagation of that sort of ideology, that sort of attitude, is very rooted in class warfare, let's put it like that, and it's not usually seen in that through that lens. And so it's very complicated to analyze it here. So this comes across as either he is as well, he's part of the he's Seminese maybe himself, and part of that racist movement, or he is just a direct commentary by the writers to a very real world and probably weird type of attitude that, it would be a weird type of attitude to have in this world, because it is rooted in specific things in our real world. It's like him being, I don't know, it's like, I don't know, it's complicated because it just has a very specific, this sort of attitude has a very specific historical root, and he just comes across as affiliated with the Seminese supremacists. Let's see. Seems to me the leader should take care of his people before himself. That's one way of looking at it. Powerful leaders not afraid to do what must be done. That's what this country needs. I can say that. I think maybe that's going to warm me up a little bit to him. I don't think any of these choices have any direct impact in my personal character, which I like, because we're just having a conversation. I can say things that I don't mean, and I like that freedom. At least so far, I think I've seen that freedom. Let's say that. Ravachol would be a different place if more people realized that. He gently rubs his chest. We could still be the... Don't get started on that again, says Gaston. What happened, happened. There is some weariness in his voice now. He's heard this rant many times before. The Carabineer doesn't reply, but his entire being communicates unbreakable resolve. No one, that's our volition talking, no one and nothing can change this man's mind. He is as rigid as they come, still in that antique uniform. It's a symbol for him. Yeah. There's a reason, there's two main reasons why that's not an English saying. I was about to say a Portuguese saying. Old donkeys don't learn languages, is sort of the literal translation of the Portuguese saying, and I'm not really sure if English even has that. But it definitely the sort of how difficult it becomes for old people to learn new things, let alone change their ways. Because it's one thing to learn, wow, look at that, I know how to use the iPhone now. I grew up without iPhones, but now I have an iPhone and I know how to use it. That's great. But that's already difficult enough, but to change one's mind is super difficult. And the reason why that has to do with the identity of oneself, because we as humans identify with the way we think. Whatever way we think, even if we're detached from ideas, that also is part of us. Like being detached from political speech, since we're talking about that, can be very much part of one's identity, and just be like, and some people are like that. You talk to them about politics, even if tangentially, and even like, for example, if you study history, you're going to have to deal with a lot of political subjects, but not necessarily talk about politics. You can say things like, especially things that are politicized in history, and if you study them, you're gonna be talking about history, not politics. But if you talk to some people, they will just be like, they will immediately react and be like, I don't talk about politics, because that is just entrenched in their identity. So you don't even need to have a very strong opinion about the subject itself. You might just have a strong attitude towards the subject, even if it is an attitude of dismissiveness. And that becomes entrenched in one's identity. So that's part of the reason why it's so difficult for old people to learn new things and to change their minds. But the other part, I feel, has to do with just how tired people get of thinking about different things, or about just thinking, I guess. Because when you're a kid, and I say that, I feel myself to be a young person. I feel like I'm 32, and I feel myself like I felt at 22. So like I don't notice that myself, but I notice that in others. I notice that in my friends, because they get into a routine of leaving and just not necessarily thinking about new things like they used to, and that changes us. That changes humans, and getting used to thinking about. He's said that rant way too many times. He doesn't have he's just not used to thinking new things. And that takes practice. And if you want to reach his age and still be ready to change your mind, because even if in things that you are wrong all your life, no matter what they are, we're talking about like super important things to this man's life, the identity of his country, the reason he fought in the war, the people he fought for, all the friends he has made and lost in his life, they're all connected to this one subject. So this is super important to him, no matter how strongly he affiliates with one side or the other, or no side, whatever. And for him to reach here and still be ready to accept that he was wrong his entire life, that's just, it's more than just memory or not remembering or self-righteousness. It's just super complicated. And it's sort of fascinating to see that in other people in specific, because I don't know that we can see that in ourselves. Ask me in 30 years if I can see that in myself. Well, I guess I'll have to let other people decide whether I change or not. And then if they say I don't change, and I'm like, oh, I do change. Because, yeah, that's when you know that I couldn't see that in myself. What was that about cocaine? I'm going to ask Gaston. Oh, old Philippe was a big fan of the purple nose candy the nobility loved so much. A cocaine connoisseur of sorts. His egocentricity is borderline legendary. You can't even take responsibility for yourself. How could you fathom the responsibility weighing on the shoulders of a ruler? He asks. René does, obviously annoyed. That's why the Philippian kings used cocaine, for clarity of vision, to aid in their work. Regnum cocainum, Revachol's finest years. He seems to grow taller, brimming with pride about the past. Of course, says Kim. The lieutenant says that dryly. Clarity of vision, awareness. Philippe III was even brought into this world with the help of cocaine. The court medic administered a dose to his mother when she was in labor. It is well known that with the help of cocaine, only the purest, of course, he was able to connect with higher realms. Higher realms? Asks my inland empire. Of course, it all makes sense. Does it? Does it? Such responsibility requires a boost every now and then. What was about this higher realms thing? Sounds interesting. It does, doesn't it? Actually, yeah. Maybe, seems like irresponsible behavior for a monarch. Thanks for cleaning. Yeah, let's ask about the higher realms. It's really not, says Gaston. He turns to René. Please spare us the cocaine fairy tales. Yes, indeed, says Kim. We are not here to investigate the drug trade of centuries past. Okay, let's talk about something else. Right, the old man stands tall and proud, looking at you inquisitively. Thank you for your time. Also, it's time for lunch, I would say. I don't have money, so I'm gonna have to mooch off of somebody.
I have really outdone myself. This is divine.
Yes, that's what you need, Gaston. More padding on that fat ass of yours. I hope your heart gives out.
René, it's the little pleasures. Life doesn't need to be a struggle. Oh, hello, officer. How might I be of assistance on this fine day?
Looks delicious, and I'm gonna point to this. Oh no, I don't need the food. Tell me, what do you know about the dead men? Oh, let me think. He looks at the clouds wistfully. I heard someone was hanged and left on a tree for a week, but that's all I know, really. Oh, come on, you must have heard something. Oh no, officers, I'm sorry, and I really would like to assist, he adds, smiling apologetically. You are both good guys, I can see that. Then help them, says René. You wimp, reproach fills his eyes. You rub every over the shoulders with a gauche caviar in the Union. Someone must know something. I wish I could, says Gaston, but I just don't know anything. His cheeks turn red. I always keep my nose clean and don't gossip. Everyone knows and respects that. Respects? The old carabinier can't believe what he's hearing. Sounds a bit like you're holding back, I'm gonna say. I'm not, he assures you. I'm not even hurting. Of course he's holding back, says René. The carabinier crosses his arms. His mouth is so full of union prick he can't even speak properly. Oh, can I at least finish my fucking sentence before you piece on it? Is that okay, René? His eyes are furious. I'm not anyone important in the Union. I just know Everard. Oh, you know this Everard? You know who's this? Everard Clare. Everyone in Martinez knows the Clare brothers, he says solemnly. Solemn. How can I not pronounce that word? It's so many accents, I get mixed up. He says solemnly. Yeah, I suppose that's it. I taught these boys human studies and history in the gymnasium. What do you know about history? Asks René, and he snaps at Gaston. You never witnessed history, only heard about it years later, when it had already moved on. You don't know history. The old soldier mumbles something under his breath and turns to face the sea. There he stands, our conceptualization, proud, rigid, and alone, like a cracking marble statue, with double A's. Did we see that again? I think we might have. Let's try not to get caught in the new lieutenant lowers his voice. Crossfire. Lest, our esprit de corps says, lest we leave riddled with bullet holes, this animosity is ancient. They can handle it. Are you a union member? Oh, his cheeks turn red again. In many ways, yes, like an honorary member. I attend meetings and parties, help with little things. Everard, Edgar, and the other, and the older débardeur all know me. In many ways? So you're not actually a member? Not in the technical sense. His eyes fix on the bowls in the crater. I don't have a vote or a membership card, but Everard keeps me on the payroll, just for the little things. Of course he's not a member. He's not a member of anything. I knew that, says René, and he frowns. He's a weather vane, turns to where the wind blows and tries to look important. I hate the socialist rabble, he continues, but even siding with them is better than living your life. Your entire life on the fence, never committing to anything. Pick a damn side already. Which is another reason why he's unchangeable. Because he's picked his side, and he's not going to get anywhere near the fence. So what are the little things you do for Everard? Oh, writing work, mostly, he smiles. Occasionally he needs something written, and I happen to have a way with words, people say. What kind of things do you write for him? Oh, nothing official, I assure you. Just essays for the newspapers. About Martinez and how things are and how they could be. Everard and I have these long talks where he tells this little penman, says René, exactly what to say. It's commie propaganda, plain and simple. You should be ashamed of yourself. Well, thanks. That's all for now. Oh, no, thank you. He nods, smiling wide. For being consummate professionals. You'll have this case wrapped up in no time. Nope, I don't think I will. I mean, maybe I will. So I need to replace the ball. I don't think that's gonna do any good for us, but, I mean, I wonder where I would even start. This coin-operated viewer has been banged up inoperable. No, it has been banged up, and then inoperable. That's one way of writing words. Enormous balls worthy of a real man. Because everybody knows that if you don't have enormous balls, you're not a real man. You're a fake. You're a fake. Where's that girth? Give me that girth. The worn and beaten wooden planks of the bench do not look overly comforting. The lieutenant looks down the street. We can sit on benches after we have solved the murder. Let's go. Okay, so we're back over here, and that's the thing I petted. Okay, so one thing I want to do, I can save. One thing I want to do, besides look everywhere with my flashlight now, is I want to go and punch the guy upstairs, because now I think I can survive a punch from him. For one, I have more health than I had. For two, I also have healing. Oh, come back. The Greater Ravachol Industrial Harbor. Sure. Also, having healing is pretty important, so... And also I have a crowbar, so... Yeah, it's all good. This is gonna work well. Absolutely. Okay. Quick save there. Just in case I die.
Your race descent has only worsened. since I last saw you. You have really let yourself go.
It's the rain, man. It's not the rain, man. It's just the rain, man. I don't know what volume I should keep. Let's keep it with this. Kim, what do you think about this? I think this racist is better than the last, but the next racist will be the really good one. That will be the... Our conceptualization asks. I like the previous racist better, actually. Says Kim, and he seems surprised at your choice of racist, but then slowly nods. That is understandable. The previous racist was probably an Occidental. I don't know if it said Occidental or Occidental. Either one sounds weird to me. And did not prove a real adversary. These cops are just jealous, Jean-Luc, I think. Maybe. Okay, well, let's use our physical instrument, I guess. Here goes nothing. That sounds about right. I rolled 2 4s. Also, can I disable my things? He's sort of breaking my bones. Ow. I think he's gonna stay breaking my bones until I say continue. Formidable failure. No. It wasn't a formidable failure. It was a formidable attempt, and I failed. How did this happen? Your little fist is in his giant hand, and he's squeezing it. It hurts. You must be out of your mind, degenerate drunk. The pressure on your hand becomes unbearable. Say it. I am a degenerate alcoholic. Oh, you can pronounce it. I am a cop, I'm gonna say. I think my... what's it called? Authority. Yeah, I can make... If that's gonna be an authority check, I can try it. Okay. Your fist cracks in his hand like a ripe apple. Pain shoots up into your brain as he's twisting it more and more. The words to the song have changed. Say, I am a violent drunk. I feel that this is a trap. No, I won't fucking say anything. And now I will also heal, just in case. Your hand twists in his grip and the pain blinds you. Still, you press the words out of your swollen mouth. Did he punch me? Good. He releases your hand. Now leave before you humiliate your homoerotic organization any further. Okay, well. We just lost healing for no reason. Let's not do that. Because we already screwed it up once. So instead of doing that, we're just gonna... Well, say nice things. Because all we need is to try and punch him. And maybe I'm gonna get a better roll when I get a little bit better at the punching. Because the guy's downstairs. Ooh, interesting. So let's go with that. And then I can do this. And that's going to be another miserable failure for sure. 3% is incredibly difficult. That is like, that's really... I almost rolled double 6s. I'm a degenerate alcoholic. Let's see what happens. Oh, he releases me. Okay, that's great. That's much better than what I was doing. I was going to have to eat... the sandwich of that other dude downstairs. But I don't think we are going to eat the sandwich of the dude downstairs. Not right now anyway, because we're out of time for the day. So for right now, I'm Colonel RPG, and this has been Disco Elysium. I really hope you've enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and leave a comment. Like the video if you want to see the next episode come out sooner rather than later. But above all, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next episode. Bye-bye.